Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than game time decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It just goes to show you how special this guy is, and I can't figure out why he doesn't cut through like the Tiger Woods of the world in that kind of dominant fashion in years past.
He stepped up to the tee box on the 14th hole, and he was 60-1 to win that golf tournament. You know, he was trailing by 6 shots, and he comes out on top.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
A pimp, some players, a hustler, and everyone else in between. Hey, how you doing, everybody? It's the Bobsey twins, me and George Kurtz, representing Waste Management at the Scramble at the Golf Club. George, nice to see you, pal. How are you doing tonight, and how is your action going? Gabe's in Vegas, at the wine bar, at the sports bar, and soon at the betting kiosk. George, captaining the ship tonight, buddy. Nice to see you. I didn't get the memo. It's green night tonight, or whatever color this is. I have no clue. How you doing?
I think my kids might call this mint green, and by the way, we did not plan this for anybody who's wondering out there. This just happened. No. I'd like to know what the odds of this were. Both of us wearing this kind of a shirt tonight.
Pretty big.
I've got about 50 of these. This is the only one I have that's anywhere near. Maybe I have 2 that are like this. That's about it here. So not a good shot here. As you mentioned, I don't think Gabe's in Vegas yet, right? Following him on Twitter, which has been fun tonight, by the way. It's been entertaining to say the least. I think he's still stuck in the airport, right? As I heard, he's 11 drinks in at the sports bar. So it's been very interesting to see how he's doing. We should have him call in, I am Camerazzi. That's right.
That didn't work for me and Gabe. That didn't work for me and Gabe at our old job. Our boss sent us to the national championship game, and he was like lit up like a Christmas tree. And he went on, hey, yeah, we're doing the show. You got the pregame. And then the boss is like, Cam, you take the phone. He's like, hand it back to Gabe. He goes, you idiots. If you guys ever pull a stunt like that again, it was like, we were pretty sauced. But anyway, we're not tonight, George. Nice and clean. George is filling up the fridge with Pepsis before the family comes back. And that should be fun, George. Your last night of freedom, buddy. Bet away. The Yankees doing you a favor tonight, George. I'm watching this Blue Jays-Minnesota game, and just a comment, the Minnesota City Connect jerseys are arguably the worst jersey in the history of softball, Major League Baseball, and everything. Have you seen these things, George? They're brutal. One logo, just weird colors, the socks, nothing matches. It is, honest to God, it's worse than softball uniforms when I watch these drunks down the way at the local softball cage. It's awful. I don't know how you feel.
I think the worst ones I've seen, though, I got to go with Boston. Those yellow ones they wear are hideous.
Well, that's Boston Marathon, though. It's kind of like a theme.
I don't care what it is. It's still hideous. All right. But I'm not saying this as a Yankees fan. I like the Boston uniforms. Yeah. I especially like the red ones. When they wear the red, I like those a lot here. But I like the white ones, too, with the Red Sox across there. I think they're, traditional, nice. The yellow ones, I don't care what they're wearing it for. And I know they're wearing for the Boston Marathon. I get it, but still bad. Don't like it. The Phillies wore there once night. And it's hard because when you turn the game on real quick, and I got 6 screens, so I don't know which game is on which TV. I'm like, who are they again? Oh, it's Philadelphia. Okay. And I got to keep remembering every time I turn it on, it's Philadelphia because they're not wearing red. They're wearing blue. You know, and they're at home. And that also drives me insane because they're not wearing white. You know, I got to figure out who the home team is. So it's I don't really like the City Connects all that much. Some are much worse than others. I don't think I'd say any are good, but some are much worse than others.
Yeah, the Blue Jays, I think they're 3-7 in their City Connect, so they never win with them. But I'm just watching this Minnesota City Connect jersey, and it's disgusting. But anyway, George, we'll go through the scoreboard right now for everybody's got some action. We talked about Oklahoma and Temple last night with Gabe, and Oklahoma's doing their thing, but I'm not sure about the cover right now. 44-3. They were huge favorites in this game. Temple scored a field goal. They got a field goal. They celebrated like they won the Super Bowl. Live line, Oklahoma's minus 44.5 and total 53. We're in the fourth quarter there. We talked about this game. Michigan State getting all they can handle from Florida Atlantic. That line closed at 13, and right now Michigan State's up 16-10 on the Owls. Their live line minus 6.5, so way below the original total there. Duke and Elon, hope you got keep digging under 19-0 live total 25.5. Duke shutting out Elon, and the Wisconsin Badgers have put a touchdown on the board. They lead Western Michigan 7-0 in that game. Georgia, did you bet any college football tonight, or are you sticking to the baseball diamond?
Just sticking with baseball, Diamond. It's rare that I bet college football. I did bet after in-game live overtime last week with Brady Cannon. Did not have a good Saturday, Cam. Was not having a good Saturday at all. Things were just not going my way. So I think what Brady called it for the midnight game, or the get even game, or the get even in deeper game. That's what he calls it. Yeah. And I decided that he was big to take the points. All right, take the points. I'm like, fine. I wasn't going to do it originally because I didn't want to be up till 3 a.m. to watch the game, 3:30, whatever time this game was going to end. But it ended up being, you know what? I just said, screw it. I'll bet it. And I went away. Went to bed here. And so I was very happy to wake up the next morning seeing that they did cover here. And it was a get-even game for me. So,
Delaware State, right? Delaware State and Hawaii. The old Hawaii special, 11:59 Eastern. George, I had an old girlfriend, and they used to have boxing matches before, like big ones like Ward Gotti before, like the Hawaii game. And she's always like, why are we staying here? Like, whatever. I go, don't worry, honey. Like, look at Hawaii. Look at their beautiful helmets. It's a rainbow and stuff like that. And I'm like that. That was like, she had no idea. Made like 37 bets during the day earlier than that. And I'm watching a Hawaii game, like sweating it out and praying that you said it, George. The Hawaii game is always, for a small school, the most bet game because it's always the last game on the board. It's always some cheesy teams. And you're realizing, why do I have this much money on a Hawaii-Delaware State game? Because that's the last game. Gamblers don't want to wait till tomorrow, George. Even though, like the Sun, there's always a gambling board. They're thinking, oh, my God, I got to get it back tonight. It's been good for me, but I've also lost some serious dough on stupid games like that and made my problems a lot bigger. Let's go through the baseball, George. I know you're obviously – tell me you took the Yankees tonight. Did you?
No.
Come on.
I didn't take the Cardinals, though, so he's up. But I did take the over, so we got
he's up.
Thank you, Austin Wells. Why don't you? I know. Listen, I do bet against the Yankees. I do it a lot, but Stroman versus Fede tonight. It's tough to bet the Yankees. I was going to use a bad word, but they pooped the bed in Washington. Right? They were awful in Washington. They went 1 for 26 with runners in scoring position. Really didn't do all that much better tonight, but Austin Wells hit 2 bombs. Now I'm going to love the Yankees, Kev, because Austin Wells, 2 home runs tonight, right? 4 RBIs, won the game for the Yankees. Tomorrow, Jose Trevino will be in the lineup. I can guarantee it.
You really hate Boone and his management. Never riding the hot hand, right, Joe? Yeah, I know. Hey, Jack agrees. So, this might as well be SportsGrid / Yes Network. Not impressed with the moves by the Yankee manager. Yeah, Boone does a lot of weird stuff. I got to be honest with you. The Blue Jays manager, Big John Studd, makes a lot of mistakes too. Not the best brains in the division. Right now, George, let's go through the live games. I got Padres. We're on them 11-5 right now. That's looking good. George, I got to give myself the old Barry Horowitz. I saw John Gray pitching for Texas. The Oakland A's have been making money. Like, they're a team you bet on. They're beating Texas right now. If you like the Rangers, you're getting +3.5, +170, total 7.5. The Mets beating the White Sox 4-1. They're doing their thing. Right now, the Mets laying 3.5 in that spot, over 6.5. Minnesota still up 2-0 on the Blue Jays. Twins -2.5, total 2.5. We're getting late in the bottom of the 7th inning. Houston up on the Royals. George, we talked about Houston. What do you think, buddy? This team is starting to look real good right now. Like, I'm scared. Like, if you're a Yankee fan, you're anybody else, like, what do you think, George? This Astros team starting to do their thing. They're doing Astros things.
they're annoying because they won't go away. All right. And I took them tonight. As soon as I heard that Pasquantino broke his thumb for the Royals yesterday, and Serge, I guess the team's closed, and he wasn't going to play tonight as well. I went heavy on the Astros tonight, sweating this out a little bit, as it's only 2-0. We're certainly hoping for more damage than that. Lugo did pitch well for the Royals. Not going to get a win here, but he did pitch well here. So, but you're right. I mean, you can make an argument. The Orioles don't look like they're going to be, they're having trouble. The Yankees are having trouble. So we don't really trust any team in the Central. I mean, the Astros, maybe they're that team to beat in the American League, especially. And I know it's an ifs and buts and candies and nuts and all that stuff. But if Arrighetti is going to keep pitching like this and Verlander can figure it out, they're going to be a problem with Valdez.
Great call. Arrighetti's been amazing in the last little while. He was horrible early, but good late. Baltimore, they're up, but they're not. It's not easy. They're up on Colorado 3-2 right now. Baltimore's laying -210, total 9.5. Mariners, I'm on them, up 5-2 on the Angels. I did take a shot with gallons of fun in the Diamondbacks. The Dodgers have just taken the lead, George. They're up 3-2. I got them +1.5 as well. If you like the Snakes, +3.5, -125. And the total in the Dodgers game right now, 13.5. It looks like there's going to be a lot of runs. So coming up on the show, George, we'll have some in-play bets on the baseball, the college football, and our buddy Steve Merrill's going to come by. And George, Steve is part of the Four Horsemen. I'll tell you about the story later when Steve Merrill joins us. Our friend of the program, coming up next, we'll go through the board.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Carlos Alcaraz has won the last 2 Grand Slam titles at the French Open on the clay and at Wimbledon earlier this summer. He enters as the favorite.
You have a bunch of depth there. Francis Tiafoe, Ben Shelton. They will likely play in round 3. The winner would play Djokovic, most likely, which would be an incredible match. I like Ben Shelton as a sleeper. If Djokovic is hurt, you never know. I think Shelton could actually be the guy that gets hot. The conditions favor him.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Lime Time, the Currency Network here. George, green. Hey, that's the theme. Gotta wear green. We want to win some money tonight. So far, so good. What are we going to do? We're going to bring in our buddy Steve Merrill. I can't even believe, we literally did not talk to each other about being on the Currency Network. And Steve is, working on his nice, beautiful lid right now. We'll bring him in and say, Steve, how you doing? Fantastic hair. And fantastic! I can't believe it. What is this? We look like some kind of weird golf team. Are we the William and Mary Tribe golf team here, Steve? It's not easy being green. Yeah.
I wore the shirt to the VMI William Mary game last night, and William Mary was a 16-point favorite, won 41-7. And when I got home, I checked the lines again. They closed 19 or 20 if you check the Wager Talk Live odds screen. And all 6 of the FCS games last night, and 4 of the 5, they were like 4 to 5 point moves, and all of them covered. So the sharp money crushed it last night in FCS football. I don't know if that's a one and done or something we need to keep an eye on this season. Those lines, as you know, are pretty soft.
Yeah, good call, Steve. I was on North Dakota State in that game, and we got the cover against Colorado and with Neon Dion. And I did fall for a trap, and I'll give Gabe credit. He's like, sometimes with these FCS teams, they come out of the gate hot. Sacramento State looked really, really good early. They pounced on San Jose State, and he told me, he's like, they're going to probably wear out, and he was right. Actually, I had Sacramento State. It was the only loser of the night. We went 4-1, but is there any truth to that, Steve, when you look at these teams, because they get fired up, they're against bigger schools? I'm not going to say San Jose State is a juggernaut, but the FCS teams kind of get their adrenaline going. Like, are they a better first half bet than a full game bet? What's your theory on that?
Yeah, so I was watching Impractical Jokers the other night on True TV, and they kept advertising the Mountain West. They showed the Sacramento State, San Jose State preview like 20 times on Wednesday night. And what do I do last night? I turned it on and watched some of it, so I guess it works. And the Hornets were playing the Spartans. This is something I heard the William Mary coaches say about 20 years ago. Former coach Laycock said it, and now Mike London's the coach. When they play these big boys, and by the way, William Mary plays at Coastal Carolina next week, and Coastal won 55-27 as a 3-point dog at Jack State last night, so that might not be boding too well for the Tribe. But they always worry about injuries first. They just try to get out healthy, and the reason being is that the Division 1A teams are about 40 pounds bigger, 2 inches taller on average on the line of scrimmage. Yeah. But they always talk about the depth as well. And it's the third and fourth quarter. And I've heard these coaches say that for years now, that they wear them out. The size difference wears them out in the second half. So you might be onto something, Cam. And what's interesting is with the big point spreads, you pay a premium in the first half. If you're a 4-touchdown favorite, it's, 28 for the game. It's 17 for the first half. Yet it's almost backwards because the FCS teams especially get worn out more in the second half. So I do think there's something to it.
We're going to get to these other games. George is going to get you some. We're going to talk about the top 25, some sleeper games. But we have a game on the board right now, Steve. And I got to be honest with you, I really like this game. I hope we're on the same side. I don't like the money move because it scares me when we're going down. I got Stanford early, and this thing's been bet down on one of my sites. It's 7.5 now, Steve. Like, can you believe that? So what are we talking? 2 points of line movement. TCU at Stanford. But looking at Stanford's schedule, last year, Steve, they played the good teams in the Pac-12 really tight, like losing by a field goal, 8 to Washington. Like, you know what I mean? I'm talking about like all the big boys, they hung with them, and they had some other games where they got absolutely murdered. They beat Colorado last year. What do you think about Stanford at home versus the Horned Frogs? I'm on Stanford.
I just got to make sure this is not an ACC game, right? Stanford at TCU or whoever it is. The reason it's a funny story, guys. I was doing a college football show yesterday. We were talking about Notre Dame and Texas A&M. And I was saying Notre Dame's still an independent. They don't qualify for the ACC. They always play, I think, contractually 5 teams. I'm looking at Notre Dame's schedule, and it was like Georgia Tech, Florida State, 2 other teams, Louisville, and maybe Syracuse. I go, they only have 4. It took me about 3 previews through to realize Stanford was an ACC opponent this year for Notre Dame. So that's just how crazy all this is. I look at my power ratings for this game. I basically go back to my spreadsheet. I do 10,000 simulations through the database. On average, I had TCU winning this by about 6.5 points, just under 7 points. So it's a game I stayed away from tonight. But Stanford's going to be an interesting team this year, being in the ACC. I just don't know what to make of that.
Josh Hader just blew a save.
Uh-oh.
I said how much I needed Houston to win this game. You got to be. I mean, really. I just. All right, fine.
George.
Fine. It's okay.
George,
right.
We'll talk about football just quickly before that. I went on coast to coast when when Carver was gone. Pittsburgh, there was no team to blow a 7-run lead ever in that game. We were on the Pirates, and we had the Royals up like 3 or 4 against Cleveland. They blew both games. I go, I'll even take a split. Baseball's cruel, man. It is cruel. What do you got for Merrill?
I'm going to stick with baseball. I guess we'll might as well talk about the Kansas City Royals now. Were you worried about them? They lost Pasquantino, right? Broken thumb. He's out of 6 to 8 weeks here. They're in, battling for that playoff spot, in a spot here. Are you worried about the Royals possibly falling out of it now without one of their better hitters?
Well, George, you and I have talked about the Royals for weeks now. We keep saying that we don't feel like they're one of the best teams in baseball, but then you look at that run differential. They still have the second best run differential in the American League, 20 net runs better than the Orioles, to put it in perspective. We talked about how bad they've been on the road compared to home this season. Well, don't look now. Coming into tonight, they're 2 games above 500 on the road now. So they're winning everywhere. And they are about 32 net runs better than Cleveland, but they're 2 games behind Cleveland in that division. So on paper, Kansas City should be the division winner and one of the best teams in baseball. But I still feel like they're a young and experienced team. And if you get any kind of ding, any kind of injury, just wonder if that's going to be the catalyst. Tough weekend series against the Astros here. Last I checked, this was 2-2 in the ninth. But it's going to be a tough road for Kansas City. But on paper, they are a playoff caliber team and one of the best teams in baseball. But we'll see if it holds up or not.
Don't you worry about their back end, though? I watch their games. That's the one issue I have, Steve. Like, Witt rakes. They got good hitters on their team. But when the bullpen comes in, I just watch them like, it's not, they need one more guy. George even mentioned that before. There's just something missing there. But other than that, their starters have been probably the biggest surprise in MLB this year.
Correct. And what's interesting is if you look at bullpen, Cleveland, the reason Cleveland's been winning that division all season is because of their bullpen. And they've started to falter a little bit here down the stretch, 4-6 their last 10, even though they won back-to-back games. So bullpens are critical. It's about, 4 out of 9 innings now is a bullpen. So it's a very important part of baseball.
Yeah, it is. So, guys, we'll talk about, as I told you, George, Steve, a member of the Four Horsemen. Hopefully he'll join us tomorrow with me, Joe Ranieri, and Paul Bovey. Woo! Four Horsemen, baby. We're in the contest. We're going to get it done, Steve. We're going to get it done. Ranieri texted me. He's like, get Merrill and Bovey tomorrow, and I will. But coming back after the break, we'll talk a little college football with Merrill, maybe some NFL futures and anything he wants to talk about. SportsRage late night. Corrections at the wine bar. We're here.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Carlos Alcaraz has won the last 2 Grand Slam titles at the French Open on the clay and at Wimbledon earlier this summer. He enters as the favorite.
You have a bunch of depth there. Francis Tiafoe, Ben Shelton. They will likely play in round 3. The winner would play Djokovic, most likely, which would be an incredible match. I like Ben Shelton as a sleeper. If Djokovic is hurt, you never know. I think Shelton's actually be the guy that gets hot. The conditions favor him.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Welcome back, everybody. Good times, great memories, Steve. You've heard them all. George has heard them all. Stories galore. Steve, before we get into the college football, man, and I can't wait. I'm on with Ranieri tomorrow, 12 to 3 for Endgame. We got some really wicked games there, and we'll go through them with you. Anything in baseball live or anything that you like, something to look forward to on the live board? You see any favorable lines or an edge anywhere, Steve?
This isn't necessarily something we'd be playing right now, but I just want to talk about the White Sox. They're down 4-1 in the 8th inning right now. They're going to lose another game, it looks like. Even before this loss tonight, they're on a pace Well, actually, with the loss tonight, they'll be on a pace to lose 125 games this season. Now, to put that in perspective, how awful that is, Georgia's childhood New York Mets were 40-120 back in 1961. That's the most losses on the modern era since 1901. And the White Sox are going to crush that by about 5 games right now. So do not be back in Chicago. And that was only like minus 220 tonight. I mean, it's not like that was an extreme price for a team that loses 75% of the time.
No, it's crazy. It's crazy stuff.
I did not have season tickets to the 61 Mets, just to let you know.
I've already used that line on you. I've already used that line on George before.
He's a Yankee fan too, right?
I know he is. That's why it's funny.
It's weird. Like,
he knows.
Yeah, but the thing is, George, it's weird. Like, isn't it New York? Like, it's Jets, Islanders. Like, it's kind of the
Jets,
quick thing
Islanders,
of
Mets.
Yes,
And
yes.
Nets.
So why?
Jets, Islanders, Mets, and I guess the Nets. And Knicks, Islanders, Giants, Rangers.
So you like two
not
teams,
Islanders.
like you like the Islanders, who are like the working man's team, and the Rangers are like the rich guy's team. The Devils could be said as their grinders too. But
I grew up on Long Island when they were winning cups. I mean, I grew up in the 70s, in the 80s. They had the parade literally half a block from my house. I could see the parade go by. Trache, Barcy, Smith, Gillies, and all those guys, back in the day. That's how I became an Islander fan. The Cowboys, my father didn't like football, so that's the Giants and Jets sucked in the 70s. So the Cowboys were the hot team. Cowboys, Dolphins, Raiders, Broncos were big back then. So I chose the star on the helmet. Steelers were another big team back then. And my father was a baseball fan, so that explains the Yankees.
No, it's cool. It's just kind of interesting because a lot of guys, like even like Cardano, what is he? He's Mets Jets. Like I see a lot of Mets Jets.
Usually goes together.
A lot of people. Yeah, they usually go together. Steve, yeah, exactly. Steve, we got great games coming out of the gate, and this is huge. I can't wait. Like right when we get on the air tomorrow for the college football in-game live with Ranieri, we got Clemson and Georgia. What do you think about this one, Steve? It's been bouncing around. It opened up at 14, and now I see 12.5. I see some 12s out there. The total pretty stationary. Open 49. I see 48.5. What do you think about this game? Is Clemson a live dog in this game? You know how Georgia could be. They could really lay it on thick, but Clemson's still a good program. Tough game, Steve.
I was surprised by this line move today. I did a look-ahead video a few days ago for Wager Talk TV, and it was 13.5. And then I did my top 25 video yesterday on Thursday. It was still 13.5, and had my 10,000 game simulation done by yesterday. In fact, I've got Georgia winning by over 17 on average. So I do think the line is too short. And I mentioned, grab the 13.5. 14 is a very key number. So I was more surprised when the line dropped today down to 12.5, 12, even some 11.5s out there for a while. There were some rumblings that Georgia might have a couple starters suspended, so maybe that's why the line moved. But it's holding steady right now at about 12, 12.5. And 12 is pretty much a dead number. Going 13.5 down to 12 is very little of a move because 12 is a dead number. 14 that half move to 14 would have been big. But my point is, I think the line is too short. I also think, Cam, after doing that video, I read all the comments. A lot of people like Clemson. And it's almost like they're looking like a mini public dog this week. I'm not playing against Georgia in week 1. They didn't win the national title last year. They have a chip on their shoulder. They won back-to-back titles before that. It started in 21, 3 years ago, when they beat Clemson 10-3 as a dog in that opening game and held them to 180 yards, held Oregon to just 3 points the year after. Georgia or pass for me at minus 12.
I got to ask you, Steve, then, this other game is absolutely similar. And I just talked to Sherapan before I came on the show doing in-game live, and he's a Penn State alum. This line opened up at 10. Penn State at West Virginia. No McAfee's going to be there. Morgantown's going to be rocking. That place is absolutely nuts. You think me and Gabe drink? This one's going to be wild, but open up at 10, 7.5. Steve, what do you think about this one? We got a minute left in the segment. We'll get to some more games.
Yeah, so once again, I rely heavily early on in my simulations, and this one has Penn State winning by 8 on average. So it's pretty much in this point spread range. And keep in mind, it opened as high as 10. And I do think that was sharp money that came in on West Virginia the last few weeks, knocking it down to 7.5, 8. So I think it's pretty much where it should be now. But the sharp money early looks like it was on West Virginia.
What do you think about the total? Does anything stick out to you? Is it a little bit light?
Open 51.5 down to 50.5. 51 is a key number. About a 3 to 4% chance the game could land exactly 51. So regardless of what side you like, over or under, you definitely want to shop around on this one. 51 is a very key number.
It's going to be a huge game, Steve. We can't wait. We got other games, too. Notre Dame, Texas A&M, and a whole lot more with Steve Merrill from Wager Talk after the break. Everybody stick around.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Carlos Alcaraz has won the last 2 Grand Slam titles at the French Open on the clay and at Wimbledon earlier this summer. He enters as the favorite.
You have a bunch of depth there. Francis Tiafoe, Ben Shelton. They will likely play in round 3. The winner would play Djokovic, most likely, which would be an incredible match. I like Ben Shelton as a sleeper. If Djokovic is hurt, you never know. I think Shelton could actually be the guy that gets hot. The conditions favor him.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Welcome back, everybody. We talked about the big upsets yesterday, and it was funny when Gabe and I, we were talking about what was the sport. It was tennis. Remember, Carlos Alcaraz lost to a 92 seed yesterday, and I think he was laying like almost 20-1. We have a situation here going on right now. Popyrin from New Zealand is beating Djokovic right now. 6-4, he won the first set. He won the second set 6-4, and he's down 3-2 in the second, but he's up 40-30. He is now a favorite in this match. Before it, a huge underdog, close to 4-1, and now he is laying 60 cents. We're here with Wager Talk, Steve Merrill, talking everything sports, gambling. Steve, out of the slates tomorrow. So, yeah, like we talked about public dogs. A lot of people are going to like Clemson. A lot of people are going to like West Virginia. Let's talk about this game, and I know Georgia's got a couple of games for you, but Texas A&M and Notre Dame is very, very intriguing to me. I think this is a big spot for Texas A&M. Jimbo Fisher cost that team so many games, bad coaching, bad decisions. They played tight with Alabama and other SEC heavyweights, but, you know, it's a new regime there, Steve. What do you think about this? Like, what do you think about Texas A&M and Notre Dame? I kind of lean with the Aggies, but it's a tough game.
It's interesting because I think Notre Dame has the edge with the coaching stability, whereas, you know, first game under a new coach for Texas A&M could be a problem with Mike Elko. But then again, he was the quarterback coach for Notre Dame's quarterback last year. So you could almost make an argument that he's got a nice little insider's edge here. My projection, my simulation is Texas A&M by 2. They opened -1. It's now -3. So, I mean, it literally moved over where I thought it should be. Now, that's only 1 point of value, but then again, +3 is a key number, you know, so it's only 1 point all the way from my power rating. But at +3 or more, I think there's some line value with Notre Dame. But the whole quarterback, the whole coach knowing the quarterback situation gives me a little bit of pause.
First off, I want to get back to the MLB board for a second here. All is right in the world, by the way. Houston did win the game. All right. I may not like
George.
it,
You got a 1-track mind. Actually, you got a 3-track mind.
I needed that game. That was not going to make me happy at all.
And baseball.
They choked that up. All right. Buzzer Boy hit the game-winning double there. Altuve off the Crawford boxes. So thank you. You know, I dislike you immensely here.
I'm glad you won.
One thing I want to point out, though, I found it strange. Kershaw was taken out of the game after 27 pitches in the second inning here. Now, he wasn't pitching well, but they were winning. You know, I didn't see if a trainer came out there with him. We found out today that Glasnow, strange thing that they're hoping he can pitch again by the end of the season. Remember when this was day-to-day and he was going to come back first day off eligible off the list here? Steve, are we a little worried about the Dodgers long-term?
Yeah, I mean, look, everyone thought it was a lock that they're going to have the best record this season. And for most of the season, they have not had the best record in baseball. And, we joked about just a month ago or so, don't look now, the Dodgers have like the most wins in baseball. Now they have 80 wins going into tonight. Nobody else has more than 79, including your Yankees and a lot of guys, Philadelphia Phillies. So the Dodgers are going to probably maybe finish with the most wins in baseball like we all thought they would. And that's despite having tons of injuries at pitcher. The problem is you win in the regular season with offense and depth. And that's why they were such a shoo-in to have a good regular season. Postseason's a different animal, and they need a couple aces. They need some health in that rotation. So, yes, George, I think the Dodgers right now probably do not win the World Series. They might not win the National League. The Phillies, they got 2 or 3 really good starting pitchers. I think Philadelphia is going to be the team to beat, and they've got some offense to back it up as well. Right now, I'd say Philly and then Dodgers. If they can get healthy, are going to be contenders. And don't look now, the Brewers have 79 wins as well. I mentioned the Yankees, the Phillies, the Brewers, 79 wins, one behind the Dodgers for most wins in baseball. So, yeah, I'd say the Dodgers are plus money right now to win the NL.
That's it's going to be interesting. And Atlanta's kind of getting their act together too, Steve. They're starting to rake.
It'll be dangerous. Yeah.
Nothing's a guarantee in baseball. We all know that. Crazy things have happened with the Diamondbacks taking out the Dodgers easily last year. Steve, I want to talk about a game off the radar because our listeners are hardcore degenerates, and we like to bet a lot of games, not just the marquee ones. North Dakota State won their game, covered their game against Colorado. I find the South Dakota State Jackrabbits at Oklahoma State game very interesting. You look at the line and go, wow, Oak State's only minus 9.5. But people don't really understand this Jackrabbit program. These guys are the best, small school. They win all the time. They're very, very good, and they're getting 9.5. Do you think they have a chance in this game? I kind of like them to cover at Oak State.
Yeah, I mean, to put it in perspective, in most of the polls right now, South Dakota State is the number 1 team in the country in FCS, and North Dakota State's like second in most polls and the power ratings as well. To put it in perspective further, the best team in FCS each year would probably be top 30 or top 40 in FBS, sometimes even better. So this is kind of like a top 40 FBS team, even though it's South Dakota State. Oklahoma State's probably a little bit better, but they're not even maybe a top 20 team right now. So this will be a competitive game. We look at Oklahoma State in recent years. I mean, Mike Gundy's been there like 20 years now, I believe. They beat Central Arkansas last year by only 14 in the opener. And they beat Central Michigan the year before that by only 14, a 58-44 game. And then the year before that, Missouri State, they only won by 7. Tulsa by 9 the year before that as a 23-point favorite. The last 4 seasons, Gundy and Oklahoma State have not been good in their opener against weaker teams. And this is probably the best of all those teams that they face. So South Dakota State definitely could contend and maybe pull the upset in this game.
That's great information.
Steve, this is probably the last time I'm going to be able to talk to you this week, I would think. So give me, is there a game this weekend that we haven't talked about yet? Or how about even next Thursday, Friday for the NFL with Baltimore, Kansas City, and Green Bay, Philadelphia? What do you got?
Haven't dug too much into those yet, George, so we'll talk more next week on the NFL. But I will give you another college game that goes early tomorrow on Saturday at noon Eastern. Never afraid to lay the big numbers here early in week 1. What you want to look for is a team that has motivation to win big. And I think Pittsburgh minus 24 fits the bill against Kent State. Kent State, I believe, was 1-11 last year. They're god-awful. Pitt was like 3-9. They have plenty of motivation to win big here, and my power ratings favor them by almost a touchdown more than 24. So take a look at Pittsburgh, and just big picture, don't be afraid to lay the wood with big favorites in week 1. Historically, they do pretty well.
I'd be remiss, Steve, if I didn't ask about I love talking about the games in your backyard. Steve, this is beautiful. You got Richmond at Virginia. The old Spiders, 19.5-point dogs. UVA's laying 19.5 total. Low, 49.5. What do you think about this one? Richmond's no joke.
Yeah, it jumped out to me too, Cam, for that reason. It's almost a 3-touchdown spread. And I mentioned how William & Mary took care of VMI, who's not a good team, very easily last night. William & Mary's ranked about 16th right now in the preseason poll. So I was checking those numbers. As I mentioned, South Dakota State, I keep an eye on those. Richmond's like top 15, I believe. They're actually ahead of William & Mary. So this will be a good Richmond squad. They were 9-4 last season. And Virginia normally takes these games serious, but Richmond's beaten them before. And William & Mary beat them back in 2009, the year that William & Mary made the national semifinals. In fact, Richmond beat them 37-20 back in 2016. That was Bronco Mendenhall's first season. Tony Elliott played him in his first season 2 years ago and beat him by 17. But, yeah, Richmond's shown the ability to keep these games close over the years against Virginia.
Yeah, interesting. Well, the Twins have just beaten the Blue Jays. George, I'm glad you didn't bet on the Blue Jays. Tonight, the under was the play in this baseball game. The Jays offense couldn't seem to get anything going. They were rolling for a while, but Minnesota takes care of business. Steve, and what about the game that Gabe is going to, the sold-out game in Las Vegas? I'm really, really excited about this one, and Public Dog seems to be the theme of our segments, and I know a lot of people are liking USC, and I can't really blame them. You know, it's one of those games that LSU has been horrible in openers that we talk about. They've gotten smoked before. What do you think? USC getting 4.5 there should be a track meet, but you need a clean ride with a total of 64.5.
Yeah, so this line opened as high as 6 a few weeks ago this summer. LSU a 6-point favorite. It's been bet down to 4.5, but now there's a lot of 4s out there as we head into the weekend. So I think you're right, Cam. I do think the public is jumping on USC in this one. My simulation favors LSU by 4.5. So it's pretty much spot on.
Good number.
But I'll talk about the total though, guys. These two teams combined last year in all games, 22-4 to the over. If you played the over in both games for LSU and USC in all games last year, 22-4 to the over. Now they both have brand new quarterbacks that have never started a regular season game. Oh, that's a problem. Well, they both started the bowl games last year for the two previous Heisman Trophy winners. And Newsmeyer for LSU threw 3 touchdowns, got MVP of his bowl game, and Miller Moss had 6 touchdowns. It was just a monster filling in for Caleb Williams. So, yeah, over would be the only way I'd play this total.
Yeah, I look to take unders with big totals, but there's not going to be a lot of defense, even though USC should be a little bit better. They were absolutely gross. Steve, a pleasure. I hope you can come on with me and Ranieri tomorrow, and we won't give out any secrets about our team, but we'll have a chat. Later, buddy. Enjoy the weekend.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Carlos Alcaraz has won the last 2 Grand Slam titles at the French Open on the clay and at Wimbledon earlier this summer. He enters as the favorite.
You have a bunch of depth there. Francis Tiafoe, Ben Shelton. They will likely play in round 3. The winner would play Djokovic, most likely, which would be an incredible match. I like Ben Shelton as a sleeper. If Djokovic is hurt, you never know. I think Shelton could actually be the guy that gets hot. The conditions favor him.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Welcome back, everybody. SportsRage Late Night. Gabe, I hope he's back in Vegas or wine bar, sports bar. Who knows? Lots of delays at the Vancouver airport. Friend of the program coming on, a man that we worked with extensively last year for college football, a college football guru, NFL guru, a sports guru, and a friend of the program. Colby, I'll tell you, you said, hey, Cam, you got to take me for a couple beers to come to Toronto. Dude, you've done so much for me. You get a case. I don't care. You get a 2-4. Welcome to the show, Colby. How you doing, buddy? And we're both on Stanford tonight, so I like you even more.
Oh yeah, right now I'm sweating out Western Michigan. Thankfully, Oklahoma, got a late score, so I hit that. But Army did ruthlessly ruin one of my wagers tonight by scoring with about 4 seconds left. What was they're up 28 and they score with 4 seconds left. But I'm doing great. Besides that, guys, how you guys doing? Thanks for letting me hijack these airwaves.
I love it, man. No, you're on In-Game Live earlier. Big fan. Colby, I love when you're on the network because you break down every and all college football games. I know a lot of people want to talk about the big ones, so we'll start there. I'm on tomorrow noon when this game kicks off, and we just had Steve Merrill from Wager Talk on. What do you think about this line movement in this Clemson-Georgia game? Steve was saying he's very concerned, a lot of public action. You know what happens a lot of the time with these public dogs, especially in college football. It's a bad place to be, and Georgia's kind of being, I know Clemson's good, but is it a lack of respect? And that line opened up hard, and what am I seeing now? Some 12.5s out there, and it seems to be getting lower and lower. What do you think about that one, Colby?
Yeah, I lean Clemson mainly just because I think there's some question marks with Georgia's offense. I mean, look, they're all highly recruited guys, so don't get it twisted. But Brock Bowers is in the NFL. Ladd McConkey's in the NFL. Ra Thomas is kicked off the team and facing jail. So look, those are 3 key guys on that offense a year ago. So I do think they could sputter. And you look at the last time they played Clemson a couple of years ago when they won the national championship. This was a 3-3 game in the fourth quarter before DJ Youth threw a pick 6. So I think Clemson can pose some problems from the defensive side of the ball that perhaps, a lot of teams in the SEC East specifically maybe can't. You know what I mean? So I think they can stay in this game. Now, the big question is whether Cade Klubnik can move the ball. It's year 2 under Garrett Riley in that offense, so I tend to lean with the points. Especially Dabo is 12-1. 12-1 as a dog.
Wow.
And the last time he was a double-digit dog, was back in 2012, and he covered that against Florida State. So I'll take the points. I feel like Clemson has been flying under the radar a little bit.
Yeah, I want to take Clemson. I just worry. I know what my problem is, Colby. I worry about line movement too much. I should just say Clemson's a good team, and, getting 11.5, 12 should be enough. And the other marquee game, right out of the gate, I'm working a really nice shift tomorrow, the 12 o'clock game. This is big at the network. Our boy Sherapan went to Penn State. McAfee, he went to West Virginia, a friend of Gabe in the program here, and things get really wild in Morgantown. I'm shocked with this line movement, though, Colby. This thing opened up, and I see, 9? And now I see some 7.5s out there. People betting the home dog in West Virginia. Do you think Penn State's being disrespected? And what do you think about the total as well at 50.5?
I'd probably lean under because they're counting on rain. So, that kind of mucks up the game a little bit there. So, I like West Virginia, actually. I think Drew Aller's got to prove it to me. He was terrible on the road a year ago, especially against good teams in general, not even on the road. Against good teams, he was terrible completing passes, especially down the field. And when you look at what they have going, they bring in Andy Kotelnicki there, the OC from Kansas, but he's used to using running quarterbacks. Now, I do believe he's a very good offensive coordinator. He'll probably find ways to get creative, but weather neutralizes that. I don't think you can get too creative when you have, the rainfall. And then also, I think this is an old school rivalry game. Penn State took West Virginia off the schedule back in the early 90s. They haven't played in Morgantown since 1990. You saw Pat McAfee there. You saw him donate $1 million to their NIL collective. They've called off school, elementary school, middle school, high school, for the whole county.
No. Put the brakes on. Who goes to school in West Virginia, Colby? Sorry.
That's true.
The thoughts of Cam Stewart are not the thoughts of SportsGrid and its affiliates. I'm just joking. Gabe said the same thing yesterday. We're just having fun. I'm missing a day of school in West Virginia. The only time we get off school, George, is if the Leafs, go to the Stanley Cup. I'm still waiting.
Well, look, I really think they do that on purpose to make sure the parents can party, because this should be a night game. It should be a night game. The fact that they're doing this, I think, is McAfee and those I don't know. This might put on my tinfoil hat, but I believe they're doing this because Fox kind of messed with their day. This was supposed to be a night game. They moved it to noon. I've been to Morgantown, and let me tell you, I've been to a lot of Big Ten campuses. Penn State's great. Ohio State's great. Michigan's great. But there is nothing as wild as Morgantown, West Virginia. So I think West Virginia is live to win this thing. I like them in the points.
Colby, first off, I got to thank you for not wearing a shirt in the green family. I think we appreciate that here tonight.
Yeah.
As everybody seems to want to wear green.
Right.
We did not plan this, by the way. Notre Dame, Texas A&M. Really quick, what you got?
I'm a big backer on A&M, even though I think the number has moved to 3. Really, it's just A&M had the top rush defense in the SEC a year ago. They also had the best defensive line in the SEC a year ago. And then you add in Mike Elko, who's been a defensive genius wherever he's been. He had Wake Forest and Bowling Green in the top 30 defenses. And then you add in Nick Skirton, who is the best defensive end maybe in the whole Big Ten, 13 sacks a season ago. Mix that with an offensive line that has lost a ton to the NFL draft, and then also they've lost some to injury already this August. So give me A&M minus the points.
I'm with you. I think this is the time. Jimbo Fisher was keeping that team back. We saw it, Colby. They were playing tough teams in the SEC and screwing it up. This is a different coaching staff, competent guys, and I think this A&M team is hungry as hell, and they'd love to put a nice W against Notre Dame on the resume. We have more with Colby Dan. We'll go through all the games, even my favorite, the dumpster games with Dan. Dumpster diving with Dan. After the break. Woo!
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than game time decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Carlos Alcaraz has won the last 2 Grand Slam titles at the French Open on the clay and at Wimbledon earlier this summer. He enters as the favorite.
You have a bunch of depth there. Francis Tiafoe, Ben Shelton. They will likely play in round 3. The winner would play Djokovic, most likely, which would be an incredible match. I like Ben Shelton as a sleeper. If Djokovic is hurt, you never know. I think Shelton could actually be the guy that gets hot. The conditions favor him.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
I love it. I just found out something new every day. Colby Dant went to East Carolina. You dead David Garrard? Who were the quarterbacks? Blake, Jeff Shake and Blake? Who else? Yeah. What about Zaxby's? Who's the guy who runs Zaxby's Chicken down south? Was he East Carolina Power? Who is it again? You know what I'm talking about.
We
Zaxby's.
got a lot, too. What's that buffet? That buffet is an ECU alum. I'm drawing a blank on it right now. It's everywhere. Golden Corral. Golden Corral is an ECU alum as well.
So ECU, they like food, big time food and buffets. Hey, man, I should have gone to East Carolina. Colby, let's talk other stuff, too, before we get to the top of the hour. Overreactions, very important stuff. We talked about it. Hawaii didn't look great, and then in the second half, they rolled up Delaware State. My boy Kurtz actually won the bet in the getaway special. Love those 11:59 Eastern games. People go nuts. Over bet. What about Hawaii getting 14? I love the position because people think what they saw last, and Hawaii, I think, could hang in this game all day long. I think you even think they can actually maybe win this thing.
Yeah, well, I was on Delaware State last week, and mainly because I thought they would keep it vanilla because they did have UCLA on deck, and this is the first time that UCLA is visiting Hawaii since 1935 when Jackie Robinson was their starting running back. So that right there, I knew they were going to keep it vanilla. And go look at the stat sheet if you think I'm lying. They played about every player on the roster. So I think this team is a lot better than what you saw last week. I had June Jones on my show a few weeks ago. I had Timmy Chang on my show as well. Both, but June Jones not with the program anymore. But Timmy Chang's this guy. He said this is a bowl team. He thinks it's a bowl team. He thinks their quarterback is a NFL draft pick. And trust me, previous years he did not say that. I buy into that as well. I look at this. I see the returning production. I see the addition of Dennis Thurman on the defensive coordinating spot. I think they're going to be a little more aggressive. UCLA's got a lot of moving pieces. So I like the 14 and a half, whatever you can get there. But I also think it's worth the money line sprinkle. I think they're better than what they showed on purpose last week.
So what do you think again? Then I'll ask the same question about a disappointing performance overseas, mind you. But what about Florida State? Do you think they can rebound, or is that a totally different story?
It's at home. College. It's hard to win in college football when you have a great environment. So I still have my questions about the downfield passing attack, but Bill O'Brien in game one, I will say this, though. The more you analyze it, the more they remind you of Georgia Tech. And Bill O'Brien was actually he coached Brent Key in college at Georgia Tech. So I'm sure they can trade a phone call. Boston College's strength, when you look at the team, is the offensive line and the mobile quarterback of Thomas Castellanos. That's the same thing that Georgia Tech had and why they probably won that game. The question is how fast can you come in? I'll take the points, but I probably am going to stay off the board. Actually, I'll probably bet it just because it's the only game, but I'm much more weary because I do think Florida State in Doak Campbell Stadium there is another team. It's the momentum of that crowd behind them. They could pour it on, but at the end of the day, I think BC in the points.
Colby, a game tomorrow, Miami, Florida versus Florida. Miami's favored by 2.5 points. Total set at 54.5. Which way you leaning?
I'm going Gators. I think everyone's in love with Miami, and it's been the same story for 20 years. I feel like, this year's different. They went out and bought this quarterback and this running back. Well, they got to prove it to me. Mario Cristobal, to me, in any big games, take it back to when he was a coach, at a mid-major there in Florida. He's got to prove it to me, and I refuse to just believe that. And this is what we just talked about. The transfer portal. You bringing in all these guys, chemistry's not always there in game one, and you got to go into the swamp. And Billy Napier's 2-0 against top 15 teams at home in the swamp. Graham Mertz had a better season than I think what people realize. I'm taking the Gators. You saw the last time they haven't lost a season opener in like 30 years, including when they beat number 7 Utah 2 years ago. So give me the Gators to get it done at home.
Should be like wrestling. Coach leaves town match. Coach, you know what I mean, with Napier and Cristobal. I don't know how this guy fails upward. Colby, we got about 30 seconds left. Favorite game of the weekend? Is there something like off the radar that you like?
Yeah, I like Sam Houston State. I think they're live against Rice. I think they're going to give them a game down there in Houston. They got a really good defense, and they've upgraded the offense. Last season was their first year. They struggled a little bit, but they were better than their record.
Colby, man, I love you, bro. I told you, you text me, hey, you owe me a couple Molson Canadian. No, a case. I told you, I'll come on the CFL show or whatever you want to do when you want me because it's long overdue, buddy. Good luck with your picks. I hope you hit it. And, man, I'm on a lot of dogs, too. So let's go dogs, buddy. Have a good one.
Thank you. Always a pleasure, guys.